Paradise has burned. Tonight we're live in Butte County with a life-changing and life-ending wildfire that's already making its way into the state record books.
I'm Spencer Christian. Fire danger is growing. Air quality is declining. I'll give you a closer look coming up.
We're also live in Southern California tonight, where flames are headed to the ocean and burning down everything in the way.
Now from ABC7, live breaking news.
About 80% of the houses in town are gone.
We're about 95% sure our house is gone.
Just terrifying. In Butte County, the Camp Fire is on track to be one of the most destructive wildfires in state history, and it's been burning for less than 36 hours. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ahmed Dates.
And I'm Dan Ashley. The president has declared an emergency in the state of California, which means federal help is on the way as we face several massive wildfires in Southern California and, of course, here in Northern California. And
we are expecting an update from Cal Fire any moment now on the Camp Fire burning in Butte County. We're going to bring that to you live as we take a live look at the podium here. The death toll was just increased to 6 lives.
An estimated 2,000 structures burned down, many of them homes, other structures as well. The fire has charged 70,000 acres at least.
Yes, and a PG&E line could actually be connected to the cause of the fire. About an hour ago, we got word that PG&E reported problems on a transmission line near the Camp Fire minutes before the fire started yesterday morning.
Now, this is a copy of the email PG&E sent state regulators. In it, PG&E says a transmission tower was damaged on Pulga Road in the town of Pulga. That resulted in a power outage at 6:15 a.m. Cal Fire says the Camp Fire started near that area at 6:33 a.m.
Now, PG&E emailed a statement to ABC7 News tonight saying, quote, "The cause of the Camp Fire has not yet been determined, and PG&E will fully cooperate with any investigations."
And of course, PG&E has faced a lot of criticism recently in the last year or so for its transmission lines and the potential links to different fires in this state. So that will be a focal point of the investigation. Here you're looking at a live view from Butte County in Chico, where authorities are getting ready to update us any moment now on the latest on the Camp Fire, which has now burned at least 70,000 acres.
Yeah, let's listen in now.
My name's Steve Kaufman. I'm a fire captain with the Ventura County Fire Department, and I'm the Public Information Officer for CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 4. This is going to be the press conference for November 9th, 2018, 18:01 hours. I'm going to start out with the most current numbers. Our current acreage is 90,000 acres at 5% contained. We're reporting 3 firefighter injuries. Total firefighters assigned to the fire right now is 3223. We estimate that there's 1,385 people in shelter, and estimate that 52,000 people have been evacuated from the fire. Our current residential structures destroyed are 6,453. 6,453. Our current commercial structures that are destroyed are 260. Puts us at a total of 6,713 structures destroyed from the fire.
Good evening, Josh Bischoff, Battalion Chief for CAL FIRE in the Riverside Unit, and I'm the Operations Section Chief for Team 4. Starting with the operational update for today, in the Pulga area where the origin is, working down the 70 corridor, we were able to hold the fire all the way down along the 70 corridor to Poe. In the area of Poe, we did have a slop over the Feather River drainage. It ran up to the ridge, across the Feather Ridge drainage, and is currently holding at about 1,000 to 1,200 acres. It is holding along the ridge, and we have not seen much progression on that. Working back down to Lake Orville area, the fire has been holding along the 70 corridor. We had a lot of work done along the 99, and we were able to open up Highway 99 tonight along the corridor. From 99 working back into Old Humboldt Road, we were able to run dozers and get some good direct hand line in there. And from Old Humboldt back up to the 32, we had a lot of success with dozers and able to put a small line for the area of Chico and some protection from the fire's edge to the area of Chico. Up the Highway 32, as we get to Wilder Canyon, Wilder Road, it was some very steep, inaccessible terrain. We've been working on coming up with plans and options to try and work from there up into Magalia. Earlier this morning, we had some active firefighting in the area of Magelda, and including structure defense. This afternoon, from Magalia Reservoir, the ridges above Magalia Reservoir, we did get some good air, and we're able to use fixed-wing aircraft to run retardant along the ridge lines from Magalia, working back down towards the origin of Polga. One of the emphases for today was on rescue. We had numerous rescues today. While actively engaged in firefighting in the Big Bend area, we had to use helicopters to rescue 5 people who were trapped down there. In the area of Magelda, when we were doing structure defense, we also had to assist people to areas of safety. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Alex Hoon. I'm a senior meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Reno, Nevada, and I'm serving as the incident meteorologist for CAL FIRE Team 4 here on the campfire. So I just wanted to give a little background on the wind event that occurred yesterday, Thursday and Thursday night. We were seeing some very extreme winds with this when this fire began. It pushed the fire into areas around the Paradise area and through the foothills, and these winds were gusting up to 40, 50 miles an hour as the winds pushed the fire. We saw very dry conditions with humidities down into the single digits. What we're seeing as we go into tonight and into tomorrow, we're actually seeing a very good opportunity with very favorable weather, much lighter winds, still very, very dry conditions out there. But as we move into Saturday night, we have a red flag warning in effect. What a red flag warning means is that it's critical fire weather conditions. It's very hot or very warm and dry conditions, very windy conditions that are expected to increase Saturday night and going through Sunday morning. We're expecting to see wind gusts of 30 miles per hour widespread over the fire area as we go into Saturday night and Sunday morning, with some areas actually seeing wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour in some of those favored drainages, especially around the Feather River drainage as well. So extreme winds, critical fire weather conditions continue. That red flag warning, in fact, does go through Monday morning. We are expecting a little bit of a lull in the winds during Sunday afternoon, but then Sunday night and into Monday morning, we are going to see an increase of winds once again as we get into Monday morning, and then experiencing very, very dry conditions even during the overnight periods as well. And so these critical conditions will be a challenge for sure. Thank you, guys.
My name is Tim Chavez. I'm a battalion chief in the Riverside Unit, and I serve on California Incident Management Team 4 as a fire behavior analyst. My job is to consider the fuels, the weather, and the topography affecting the fire, and to devise the operations section so that we can take tactics that are effective and safe. This fire is unique to be this late in Northern California. Normally, climatologically, we would expect to have had a sequence of storms delivering rainfall to the area by now. However, that rain has not come. We had a little shot of rain earlier in the month, but it wasn't sufficient to dampen down the fire behavior. When the north winds came, the last couple of sequences of north winds dried the fuels back out to what we would expect to be midsummer type conditions. So it kind of lined up perfectly to have the large 90,000 plus acre fire run that we had yesterday. Every day that goes by is putting us one day further from the springtime, green up that occurred after the winter. So the fuels will just continue to get drier and drier and drier until we do finally get a season-ending rainfall event. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Todd Durham. I'm a division chief for CAL FIRE in Sonoma County, and I serve as the incident commander for CAL FIRE Team 4. And more specifically for this incident, I'm a unified commander along with my partners from the Butte County Sheriff's Office and the Paradise Police Department. What CAL FIRE teams do, they're made up of 50 or more people, multidisciplinary, many CAL FIRE employees, local fire, state, and local law enforcement. So it's multidisciplinary. We come to communities when they request in their time of needs, and we come and serve as simply a force multiplier. We come to embed and expand the local capacity to best serve the community. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Corey Honey, and I'm the Sheriff Coroner of Butte County. I want to begin my comments with this. We're dealing with a very dynamic situation that is rapidly evolving. We are doing our best to get information to you in a timely manner, but I would ask that you please be patient with us and understand that what I tell you today may change or may have to be modified as we gather more information. I want to start off and tell you a little bit about our law enforcement mission. We have mutual aid law enforcement from throughout Northern California. Those law enforcement officers have come to assist our local law enforcement officers with evacuations, as well as maintaining the security within those areas that have been evacuated. In addition to that, we made a request for the California National Guard to come in and assist us with that mission. So members of my community may see members of the National Guard perhaps on traffic control points or working alongside our law enforcement personnel. It is, as the chief said, a force multiplier. We have had the opportunity to lift a number of evacuation warnings and some orders, and so I want to talk about that for a moment. We have lifted the evacuation warning for residents living west of Highway 99 from Highway 149 north to the Chico city limits and west to the Midway. In addition, we have lifted the evacuation order for residents living on Oro Chico Highway from Estates Drive to Durham-Dayton Road. You can follow our social media pages for updates on that. We try to keep that continually updated. I do want to make one comment about that. The county has suffered some infrastructure damage. That has created some problems with our internal email system as well as our access to internet. We're working diligently to get that repaired so that we can continue to update you in a timely manner, but that has been a difficulty that we have been facing. We have, at this point, in keeping with our law enforcement mission, my office at this point has received 2 calls of reported or suspected looting. We have had law enforcement officers respond to those calls. Those would be up in the Magalia, Paradise area, from what I understand. But we have not actually located anyone looting at this point, so there's been no arrests made. But I want to emphasize this point. As this goes on and more people find ways to get into those evacuated areas, if you think you're going to come in here and take advantage of these poor people who've been displaced from their homes and steal from them, law enforcement is going to do everything we can to capture you. And when we do, I have the assurances of the district attorney that you will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. It is despicable conduct, and we need to make sure that we do everything that we can to prevent that. My office to date has received about 588 calls from people needing or requesting assistance in evacuating. And we have been working diligently through the course of that today. I know that staff was up in the Magalia area contacting people who were to shelter in place and working with our partners in the transit system to shuttle those people down to the Chico area. The other very unfortunate aspect of my comments today involves an update on the casualties. And unfortunately, it is my sad duty to report that we now can confirm a total of 9 fatalities, 4 additional from the ones that I talked about yesterday. I don't have all of the details because we've had investigators out in the field attempting to get to those locations where those suspected casualties were. What I can tell you, starting yesterday, we had those four individuals were found in their vehicles, and they were in the Paradise area. We found another individual near those vehicles today. He was outside, or I'm sorry, that person was outside the vehicle. I can't confirm the gender of that person at this point. In addition to that, at other locations within Paradise, we found 3 individuals outside of residences. We don't know if they're their residents or not. We still have to work to identify those individuals and then ultimately notify the next of kin. And we have found 1 individual who apparently was inside the residence. I know that that is not a lot of information. I certainly understand that there are people in our community who are aching to know what has come of their friends and family members. That is why I'm telling you what I know now, but you understand that this can be a long process in terms of identifying people and then making the notifications of the next of kin. So I'm trying to balance getting information out to you with not giving you information that I can't confirm. Okay? As I told you yesterday, this was a devastating fire, and if you've been up in the area, you absolutely know that. You know how quickly it came through the Paradise area. And so I fear that it will be a continual duty of mine to come in and update these figures. My hope is that's not the case, but I think we have to be prepared for that. Thank you.
We'd like to open the floor up for questions now. As you pose the question, I will repeat the question, and then the discipline that'll talk to the question will come up and talk to
We've been listening to this CAL FIRE update on the fire burning in Butte County, the Camp Fire, and the latest numbers are sobering. Yeah, now we know 9 confirmed fatalities. The initial 4 that we had heard about in vehicles. They found another person outside of the vehicle. 3 were found outside of residences and 1 in a residence.
Yeah, some other numbers that we were given, updated figures now. 6,453 homes have burned, 260 commercial buildings have burned, a total of 6,713 structures, which does make this, according to our calculations, the most destructive fire now in state history, and it's not nearly, sadly, over yet.
Yeah, up to 90 acres with just 5% containment, 3 firefighter injuries. We do have team coverage tonight. It was interesting. We listened to the chief meteorologist that they have working on the fire, talking about how it's unique to have a fire. Well, we heard it was unique to have a fire this late in the season, but also that we have that red flag warning that it's going to be coming back Saturday night, and so things had been slightly improving, but maybe not so much anymore.
Yeah, normally we'd be talking about rain at least a little bit more regularly this time of year. ABC7 News weather anchor Spencer Christian is tracking the smoke and the air quality issues here in the Bay Area. But first, let's begin with ABC7 News reporter Laura Anthony. She's live in Butte County for the 2nd day in a row. Laura?
Well, hi, Dan. I'm actually downtown Paradise. We're getting our first look at the destruction here in this downtown area. Unfortunately, I can tell you this is pretty typical. One of hundreds of businesses, as you just heard in that press conference, that burned in this fire. And just up the road from here, we've seen some horrific scenes of what was left behind after all those people were literally jumping from their cars and running for their lives.
The road through Paradise is now lined with scenes of apocalyptic destruction and jarring signs of sheer terror and panic. Abandoned cars line the roadways. There are trucks, even a school bus among them. Some even ran off the road or smashed into one another as drivers tried to escape the wall of flames. Now we know at least 5 people here didn't make it out. Though the wind-driven flames have moved through, what's left in their wake is devastating. In every direction, left and right, street after street, the homes are gone. And so are most of the businesses.
The town's devastated. It's devastated. We're grateful that we got people out as quickly as we did yesterday, but we have a lot to do to rebuild.
Paradise Mayor Jody Jones and Councilman Steve Crowder surveyed what was left of their town, trying to keep an eye toward the future amid so much darkness.
This is my business here, and we're working to head over and see how our house is. I don't know if that survived. About 80% of the houses in town are gone, and our downtown is devastated. This fire took everything. It wasn't a section, it was town-wide.
And again, we're downtown Paradise. This is just one of the many businesses that are completely destroyed here. We can't even tell what this was before the fire occurred. As for those folks in the cars, we learned more from a CAL FIRE spokesman a short time ago. He told us that while many of the folks did leave their cars, they ran. Others who were able to get through actually picked them up and took them to safety. So that at least is comforting to hear. He said then, though, there were a lot of cars in the middle of the road, and what firefighters and heavy equipment operators had to do was then go down the road in the middle of this fire and literally push those cars and trucks out of the way so that they could get their fire equipment through and try to do whatever they could to fight the fire. In Paradise, Laura Anthony, ABC7 News.
All right, Laura, thank you. And we can smell that smoke, and here's why. This is a look at the smoke from the campfire taken from NASA satellite imagery. You can see how it heads westward, then drifts south, covering Mendocino and Lake counties, and then the Bay Area.
This yellow haze and ash we've seen. ABC7 News weather anchor Spencer Christian is here with a look at the air quality out there now. Spencer.
Okay, Dan, and here's another look at live Doppler 7. You can see the smoke in this image showing up as a as an expansive area of gray, both here in the Bay Area and over in the Central Valley. And as we look at fire conditions near the weather conditions, I should say, near the fire, you can see the wind is calm right now. That's the wind at the surface. But look at this looping image, satellite image. You can see that the wind aloft is pulling that smoke down into the Central Valley, into the Bay Area, and then pushing it out to sea. So our air quality is, of course, declining. Tomorrow's a spare the air day. We will have unhealthful air conditions in the North Bay and the Inland East Bay, poor in other locations, and it will be poor generally across the Bay Area Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, for as long as that smoke continues to billow down into our region. I'll have a look at our weather forecast coming up a little bit later. Dan?
Okay. Spencer, thank you.
Well, in disasters like these that we've been seeing, insurance really can make a huge difference.
Yes, 7 on your side's Michael Finney is going to join us tonight with advice for first-time fire victims from experts and from people who've been through this before.
First responders are working around the clock not only in Northern California. I'm Dionne Lim reporting live from Southern California, where 2 massive wildfires have affected hundreds of thousands of people when we return.